Dengu or green grams has so much potential, and I'll be sharing with you the secret ingredient in which you must use while preparing your dengu curry so that it can turn out delicious. In today's episode, we're preparing some dengu curry, and I'll share with you just a few tips on how you can make some really thick and delicious dengu curry. I'm also going to be sharing with you an easy technique for serving and plating your dish. Welcome to today's episode, and let's get started. So as I've earlier mentioned, dengu has so much potential and it's one of my favorite plant-based protein. We'll start off by the usual, frying some onions till they turn translucent, then we can go in with the other vegetables. In today's episode, the secret ingredient is some garlic. Garlic is the secret ingredient. It will take your meal from like an 8 to a 15/10. I'm not kidding. Try it out and let me know how you find it. If at all you're going to be preparing some green grams, make sure you have some garlic with you, and the more the better. There's nothing like too much garlic. The garlic enhances the flavor of the dengu, and if at all you've never tried this out, please try and you'll thank me later. Once my vegetables are well done and the tomatoes have also broken down, I'm going to go in with my green grams, and we are not going to be discarding the water that we got from our green grams. I find that water very nutritious. I find it a very good thickening agent, and it's going to thicken our stew, and we're not going to be using the regular water. That applies also while cooking beans or githeri or any other cereals. Make sure that you preserve that water and use it in our stew. So hear me out. Why do I do this? Same case, while you boil some meat, your beef or chicken or any other animal protein, we use that same water while making the stew. So why not use the same water that you got from our plant-based proteins while preparing the stew? Assuming that I'm vegetarian or vegan, this is what I will refer to as my broth. Just the same way we have some beef broth, we have some chicken broth. Today we are going to be having some dengu broth or green gram broth, or also if at all you call this mung beans, we have some mung beans broth. The other day I shared a similar recipe where I was making some lentils, and I did not pre-boil the lentils first. I started by soaking the lentils, then frying them till they were ready. Down in the comment section, a few people were not for the idea, and their argument was that the lentils contain some gas which affects them, so they prefer pre-boiling it first, then discard that water, then fry the lentils, then add fresh water. And I'm here thinking, I might be wrong, but at the same time, this is just my thought, so hear me out. If you think lentils has gas, or let's say beans or dengu or any other cereal that you're going to be preparing, if you think it has gas and it affects you somewhere in the digestive system, why should you be consuming that? I mean, why would you boil the beans, then discard the water because it contains gas, but then go ahead and fry the beans and consume it, and you think it's safe for you? My argument was, if at all anything affects you, I don't think you should be eating it. And if at all you eat it and it doesn't affect you, I don't think you have a problem consuming that particular cereal or that particular food. I mean, why do you think the cereals themselves are better off than the water that you just boiled your cereals in? The cereals and the water were boiling in the same pot to become one thing. So either is just as good as the other, and either is just as bad as the other. So that was just a simple justification of why I'm going to be using this broth or this water that we've gotten from our dengu, and we're going to be using it in the same recipe. Also, using it in the same recipe ensures that your stew is very thick. Adding fresh water and you want a very thick stew, you'll have to wait for your dengu or green grams or stew to simmer for quite a long time, but adding this, it's almost immediately. Also, I should mention that this recipe is best when everything is hot. I mean, you've just boiled your cereals, then you set aside the water, then start frying it immediately. But also it works if at all you're going to be consuming the cereals tomorrow and you pre-boil them today, you can store this water separately in the fridge or freezer, and the cereals in a separate container, and once you're ready to cook them, just bring out the two to defrost, then you can enjoy your meal. So that's pretty much it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed. I also hope you're going to try this method, and I also hope you're going to remember to add your garlic to your dengu the next time you're making this stew. Also, remember to add in grated carrots for more thickness. Enjoy the recipe. I'm going to be serving this over some rice and some avocado, but you can definitely enjoy this with some chapati or any other starch that you may prefer. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.